The range of powertrains is not as large as is customary among German automakers. And nevertheless, it allows you to meet the needs of a wide range of motorists. Gasoline engines are represented by an 8-cylinder M273 block and provide good dynamics, which is not only paid for by high fuel consumption and taxes. The motor has 3 typical drawbacks, wear on the intake manifold and timing chain drive, scuffing in the cylinders. Defects appear, as a rule, after the first 100,000 kilometers, but some manage to jump over the line of 200,000 kilometers without problems. Individual owners of gasoline V8s had to deal with intake manifold repair after 50,000 kilometers, especially in the GL of the first years of production. The disease manifests itself as uneven engine operation, floating speed, loss of traction, and of course, is accompanied by the check engine indicator lighting up. The intake manifold has plastic components that break down over time. Breakage of traction on the outside of the collector is not as bad as a break in plastic dampers. Fragments of dampers can get into the combustion chamber, which will lead to rather unfortunate consequences. There are 2 options for solving the problem. The first is the replacement of the collector. Refurbishment is not possible. The second is the removal of the dampers. The latter option is not welcomed by most mechanics familiar with Mercedes engines. Similar signs, apart from error numbers, have another unpleasant defect associated with the timing chain drive. It occurs due to stretching of the timing chain, wear of the camshaft gear and intermediate gear. At the same time, there is a clang from the engine. In a neglected case, a chain jump is possible with an unpleasant result. In addition, where products clog the oil pump, reducing its performance, which leads to oil starvation. It was previously believed that the manufacturer in 2008 completely eliminated the problem by modifying the ill-fated elements. However, practice has shown that the situation repeats itself, however, much later. Fortunately, chain replacement is done without removing the engine. Approximately the same amount will be asked for work. The most serious ailment is bullying in the cylinders. The reason is the gentle coating of the cylinder walls by Silatech, surface alloying with an alloy of aluminum and silicon in aluminum blocks. The coating is damaged as a result of the formation of soot, debris from the intake manifold flaps, and oil starvation due to a drop in oil level or a decrease in oil pump performance, due to clogging of timing wear products. In this case, there are 2 options. The first is the replacement of the engine with a contract one. However, the new unit will not get rid of this problem in the future, especially since its service history and operating conditions are a secret with 7 seals. The second is a major overhaul with the installation of cast iron sleeves. The costs are the same as in the first case, but the result is monumental. With a competent sleeve, no one returns to the issue of wear of the cylinder piston group. Diesel modifications have become more widespread. The most massive was the 3-liter turbo diesel OM642. Problems with the timing chain drive are extremely rare phenomena, and even then they occur far after 200,000 kilometers. Among the shortcomings, one can note the exhaust manifold collapsing after 100,000 kilometers, pieces of which damaged the turbocharger blades. The manufacturer carried out several upgrades of the defective unit, but could not completely defeat the disease. The reason for the failure of the turbocharger can also be a faulty actuator. The car twitches and traction disappears. As a rule, in this case, the turbocharger assembly is changed, but some manage to save significantly by replacing the actuator itself. After 100,000 kilometers, sometimes it becomes necessary to replace the globe plug. There are problems with starting in cold weather, and the spiral is displayed. By this time, dirt, soot, accumulates on the internal moving elements of the intake manifold, which leads to sticking of the rods and failure of the damper servo. Sometimes the actuator gives up due to oiling of the contact connector. In this case, it is enough to replace the penny seals and flush the connector. Fuel injectors, when filled with high-quality fuel, serve more than 200,000 kilometers. Oil leaks for a 3-liter turbo diesel are a fairly common occurrence after 100,000 kilometers. Both the heat exchanger gasket and the turbine seals can leak. In the latter case, careless mechanics are often to blame during the replacement of the air filter. Seals are jammed. A leak, as a rule, is detected when viewed from below. So many services mistakenly diagnose a leak in an engine or gearbox oil seal, which also happens. The 4-liter OM629 biturbo-diesel is much less common. On its basis, even the Thielert Centurion 4.0 aircraft engine for light twin-engine aircraft was assembled in Germany. Moreover, the mechanical part of the unit did not have significant differences. Its estimated resource is 2,400 hours, and then the replacement followed. No repair is provided. The numbers are suggestive. In particular, if we take into account that at the maximum permitted speed of 90 km/h, the average speed on the highway is about 60 to 70 km/h, then you can definitely count on 150 to 170,000 kilometers of highway runs without any problems with the motor. However, this does not mean that the motor is without flaws. In practice, malfunctions appear after 200 to 250,000 kilometers and are associated with nozzles, high-pressure fuel pumps, and turbines. With high mileage, you may encounter cracking of the sleeves. A 4-liter bi-turbo diesel is one of the most expensive to maintain and repair. Almost all modifications in the region of 200,000 kilometers require the replacement of engine and gearbox mounts. All X164s, without exception, are equipped with a 7G-tronic 7-speed automatic transmission with a selector on the steering column. In addition, each of them has a 4-matic all-wheel drive system, thanks to which the SUV has proven itself in the field. Problems with the 722.9 machine occur after 100 to 150,000 kilometers. Symptoms will be shocks when switching, slipping, revs increase, but there is no increase in speed, delays, or lack of switching. An experienced specialist can easily recognize the cause of the malfunction using diagnostic equipment. As a rule, the electronic board of the control unit delivers trouble. The latter is placed inside the automatic transmission case and works in hot oil. By 150,000 kilometers, the board dies almost guaranteed. The valve body also works with hot oil and is very sensitive to overheating and wear products. In addition, solenoids clog over time. With a rumble, vibrations, or shocks at the moment of switching from second to third, a torque converter donut is most often sentenced. The box may also stop responding to manipulations with the gear selector. In this case, you will have to replace either the steering column module or the ISM, the automatic transmission servo drive. After 100,000 kilometers, the transfer case seals sometimes begin to leak, and after 150,000 kilometers vibrations, noise or hum may appear. The main causes are bearing wear, planetary gear, or chain stretch. The unique smoothness of the ride is provided by the Airmatic air suspension with several modes of operation and a vibration suppression system. With its help, you can increase the ground clearance up to 307 mm and in this position overcome the Ford up to 60 cm. But the advanced system on board again comes at a heavy price. Firstly, air springs rarely serve more than 80,000 kilometers. After 100,000 kilometers, the front shock absorber may leak or knock. The Airmatic air suspension has a number of vulnerable elements, an air compressor and a valve block. The levers, most often the front lower ones, give up after 100,000 kilometers. Fortunately, the design allows you to replace the ball joint and silent blocks separately from the lever. Wheel bearings wear out after 150 to 200,000 kilometers. There are malfunctions in the steering. In particular, after 200,000 kilometers, a power steering pump may require replacement. The electrician, fortunately, usually does not fail. However, you may encounter a malfunction of the keyless entry system. You will need to replace the antenna unit, or key fob. You need to resolder the chip. Rear external parking sensors often fail. Moisture gets in. The front part of the body, hood and bumper, becomes chipped over time, and the chrome capitulates under the aggressive influence of the external environment. Body iron does not rust. However, Many are faced with paint swelling and corrosion of the vertical strip of the rear door, between the glass and the window. With age, headlighting loses its effectiveness due to clouding of the glazing and reflector.